This is Rafiqul Islam, Senior Assistant Teacher, Jilrahman School and College, Aganagar, Bhairab, Kishorganj. My dear learners, how are you? I hope you are keeping well by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am also well. Dear learners, you are out of the classroom near about 6 months. So, your studies are being greatly hampered. My dear learners, to recover the loss of COVID-19, our government has taken a decision to take online class. According to the declaration of the government, our school has also arranged online class. So, welcome to the students of class 9-10 on behalf of online class. My dear students, in previous classes I taught you English second paper and use of connectors. Dear learners, I taught you in previous classes I taught you what is connector, why we should learn connector, classification of connectors, list of the connectors. I hope you have already practiced this because this is very complicated. Dear learners, if you would like to acquire skill in English, you must know connectors. It requires hard work. Hard work is something which the students must do themselves. There is no book, no teacher can make the student hard worker. So, I hope you are working at your home what I instructed you. Dear learners, you know that our teachers are delivering a lot of classes on our school page. Dear learners, if you do not watch our classes, our efforts and our program will be useless. My dear learners, you are advised to watch my classes very carefully. Okay, attention please. Dear learners, take your pen and notebook. If you fail to understand any particular matter, you will try to write down the points and try to consult with me through my inbox. Dear learners, in previous lesson I taught you connectors and classification of connectors, and I also taught you 4 roles of connectors. From ending of the previous lesson, now I am going to start my lesson. Dear learners, look at the whiteboard. Today's title is How to Use Connectors. My dear learners, if you would like to fill up the blanks with suitable connectors, you must know about how to use connectors. If you don't know how to use connectors, you will be unable to fill up the blanks properly. Dear learners, this is very complicated topic, so you have to watch the class very carefully. Very carefully. My dear student, look at. In previous classes, I taught you how to use connectors and I gave you 4 roles. From ending of the previous lesson, now I am giving you role number 5. Look at. Dear learners, if any sentence indicates additional topic or issues, in which case you have to use furthermore, in addition to, moreover, besides. Dear learners, you know that in a passage there are a lot of sentences. Writer expresses a lot of sentences. If any sentence expresses additional topic or issues, before this clause or sentence you have to use furthermore, in addition to, moreover, besides. These connectors express additional topic, additional issue. It's okay. So there is an example here. Tree helps us in many ways. It makes our environment green. Dear learners, a tree helps us in many ways. This is a sentence. This is another sentence. It makes our environment green. It has also another sentence. It gives us oxygen. So that is additional sentence and it expresses additional idea. So in this case you can fill up the blanks with suitable connectors. What is the suitable connectors? In this case you can use here furthermore, in addition to, moreover, besides. Any kind of connector you can place here. Have you understood? Dear learners, I hope you have understood that how to use additional expression. In this way you have to fill up the blanks if any sentence expresses additional idea. It's okay. My dear learners, look at roll number 6. Dear learners, this is another rule. Dear learners, this rule indicates particularization. Particularization, you will find some sentence, you will find writer emphasizes on some sentences. In this case, we can use particularly, especially, obviously, indeed, actually, just kind of connector. Dear learners, there is an example. Grammatical items must be learned to learn English. So there is a sentence. If any teacher or any student or any writer would like to express this sentence clearly, in this case you have to use particularly, especially, obviously, indeed, actually, to clear the idea of the previous sentences. Have you understood? Okay. So here we can use, there is a blank, but this blank should be filled up with particularly, especially, obviously, indeed, actually, any kind of connectors you can use here. So grammatical items must be learned to learn English. Especially fundamental grammars are essential. Fundamental grammars are essential. So here we can use particularly, especially, obviously, indeed, actually, any kind of connector we can use here. My dear learners, now notice rule number 7. My dear learners, sometimes we find two or three or more than noun, pronoun, adjective in a sentence, in a passage. If we find two or three or more than noun or pronoun on that page, what should we do? Suppose we would like to express our idea giving an example. So if any this role indicates exemplification. So for instance, for example, to illustrate task as, dear learners, if you find two or three or more than noun or pronoun, in which case you have to use in this case or before such kind of noun you have to use. For instance, for example, for to illustrate task as, any kind of connectors you can use here. For instance, there is an example, various subjects are taught in secondary level. For instance, Bangla, English, Math and General Science, etc. So there are four noun. If we would like to express two or more than a noun or pronoun, in which case we have to use, for instance, task as, for example, to illustrate, etc. My dear learners, look at rule 8. To indicate results, we use that, therefore, as a result, consequently, hence, for this region, accordingly, so, etc. Dear learners, if we would like to express a narration, express an idea, large idea, lastly we would like to express the result, in which case you have to use that, therefore, as a result, consequently, hence, for this region, accordingly, so, etc. Dear learners, there is an example for your better understanding. Dear learners, Asif made good results in the SSC exam. There is a sentence. So there is a gap. He had a lot of some chances to take admission into famous college. So in this case you can fill up the blanks with that, therefore, as a result, consequently, hence, for this region, accordingly, so, any kind of connectors you can use here, hence. So hence, this is connector. Any kind of, if any sentence indicate results, before this sentence you have to place hence, that, therefore, as a result, consequently, any kind of connector used here before the sentence. Dear learners, now fill up the blanks. Again, to indicate additional topic, if any sentence express additional topic before the sentence, we have to use furthermore in addition to moreover beside. So we can use besides. It's okay. Next, if any sentence to indicate particularization, particularly, specially, obviously, indeed, actually. So, grammatical items must be learned to learn English. Fundamental grammars are essential. This sentence expresses particularization. If any sentence indicates particularization, in which case, before the sentence, you have to fill up the blanks with suitable connector. Here, we can use specially. Here, you can use any kind of connector and you can fill up the blanks with any kind of connector. Dear learners, to indicate exemplification, if any sentence expresses exemplification, in which case you have to fill up the blanks with, for instance, for example, to illustrate just as various subjects are taught in secondary level. Here we can use just as. Here you can use any kind of connector. Here it's okay, my dear learners. I hope you have already understood how to use connectors. My dear learners, in previous lesson and today I have already given you 8 rules how to use connectors. Dear learners, there are 20 rules about how to use connectors. My dear learners, if you follow my instruction and rules, I believe that you will be able to fill up the blanks with suitable connectors. So I hope you will practice at your home in such way. Dear learners, next time or next session, I will teach you rest of the rule of connectors. So there are 12 rules of connectors. In next session, I will try to give you 12 connectors of 12 rules of connectors. So, dear learners, keep up your eyes on my online class. Thanks to all. Goodbye.